Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. On Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Welcome to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Linda Joy, Mindset Elevation Coach, Intentional Living Guide, and the creatrix of the upcoming Inspired Life Women's Weekend of Love, Light, and Laughter, coming right here to Massachusetts, April 11th and 12th of next year. And I am so excited to bring hundreds of women together for a whole weekend of nourishing your spirit, elevating your mindset, and transforming your life. Get on the VIP attendee wait list because, hint, hint, tickets will go on sale soon at the early bird rate to those on the wait list. You can learn more at inspiredlifeevent.com. I got to tell you, today you're in for a special treat. I have known my guest for 20 years. In fact, she was a speaker and exhibitor at numerous Love, Light, and Laughter events way back. And I'm so thrilled to say that she will be speaking and exhibiting again at the Inspired Life event in 2026. And today, you are in for a special treat, especially if you love anything to do with developing your intuition, open up your psychic abilities. Lisa Campion is a master psychic, energy healer, and prolific author who has dedicated her life to helping people access their intuition and their inner power. With over 30 years of experience, she has guided thousands of clients in their spiritual journeys, combining practical tools with deep metaphysical wisdom. She's the author of numerous best-selling books. Today we'll be talking about awakening your psychic abilities, but she's also the author of best-selling books, The Art of Psychic Reiki, Energy Healing for Empaths, and she is so passionate about empowering others to discover their own intuitive gifts. She's been featured all over the place, my friends. And Lisa, I'm so thrilled that you're here and that you will be with me in April.
Oh, Linda, it's so amazing to be with you. I just love your events so much. And I can't wait for to be in the energy of it. It's always so beautiful and inspiring and life-changing for me and for everybody else too.
Well, I am so grateful for our conversation today because so many in my community, from Aspire Magazine and all the others, we're always talking about the topics of intuition, that we're all intuitive, right? That we all have the gifts. I think we've just forgotten them. So today we're going to be talking about how to help someone begin developing their psychic abilities, even if they think they don't have any. So let's go backwards a little bit because you've written so many soulful books. Tell us a little bit about your journey that led you to the work you're doing in the world, because I always find there's a thread that is leading us at all times.
Yeah, I mean, I have kind of a funny story here. I grew up just outside of Boston. I was born in the 60s and I was one of those I see dead people kids. So I was always experiencing psychic phenomenon, things other people weren't. Um, and I really started working as a psychic when I was 19. I think that was back in the 80s. And I don't know why I thought I could do that because I think you could, I think you just think you can do things when you're 19, so you do them. And since then I became a therapist and because I quickly learned I didn't have enough skill to help people. So I went back to school and became a therapist. And then in 1999, I learned Reiki and added that to the mix. And these days, I feel like my mission is to really help emerging psychics, empaths, and healers really step fully into their gifts because the world needs all the healers it can get. And my mission in life is to create an army of healers to go out there and save the planet. And all the things that we do, so many people are undergoing psychic awakening, starting their spiritual journey, or opening up spiritually and psychically. And I really like to help and mentor people through that process because I didn't have any help. I sort of had to do it old school of hard knocks. And if I can help somebody else not do that, that's a really good day for me.
And I know how passionate you are about your mission because I've watched
Yeah.
you over the last 20 years, and you're really a leader in the industry, not just in New England where we live, but
Mm.
globally because you become so respected for your mission, your message. And I think I want to start with this question because it shows up a lot in my private communities. What is the difference between being intuitive and psychic abilities or being psychic? And is there a difference?
I think there is. And intuition is really when we tap into our own inner wisdom. Like it's like tapping into your higher self. And we might feel our intuition as like that sense of knowing, like I or feeling like I don't have a good feeling about this, or I just know something's gonna happen, or we feel it in our bodies. Um and and it's how our higher self, how our own soul speaks to us is through our intuition. Super important, our intuition. Um, but it's really it's guidance we're getting from ourselves. And psychic is a little different. Psychic is when we get information from outside of ourselves. That might be your spirit guides, your the angels, the ascended masters, your dead grandmother who stops by for a visit and still likes to tell you what to do. Though that's we're getting information from outside, and it tends to be, it could be about our future, or we might see past lives. We might also, get really deep information about our purpose. And everybody has psychic abilities and intuitive abilities. We all have both of them, but I think we need to let go of this myth that you it's not something you can develop. You have what you have and you can't change it, because I really do think we can. And anybody can increase both their intuition and their psychic ability if they're willing to put in the work to do it.
So true. And I can remember too with myself, I used to, in my 20s, and I'm 63 now, used to go, I'm not intuitive. I'm not intuitive. And really, I look back at my life now and go, oh my goodness gracious, everything I've done and created is from that sense of an inner knowing. I just didn't label it as intuition back then.
Right.
But I've created my whole life by, I call divine downloads, guidance, and a
Yeah.
deep sense of I now trust completely what I receive. There's no doubting. Is
Hmm.
the doubting part of the process of honing our intuition? Like it's normal to doubt at the
I
beginning?
think people do doubt, and we don't know how to tell the difference between a real intuitive hit and just the crazy stuff we make up in our own head, you know? And I think that once we learn how to tell the difference, you really can. So, real intuitive hits don't have a lot of energetic charge, They're kind of neutral. Even if they're about something that's kind of a big deal, they'll feel calm, they'll feel like a steady calmness about them. And if you're highly triggered about something, then it's not your intuition, it's just your own inner like reactivity. Like if you're super anxious about your kids, it's not an intuitive thing, it's just mama anxiety. Um, and so I think we learn how to tell, like, okay, it's that calm feeling, it's that knowing that's calm. That's a good way to know. And I think in while we're learning, it's really helpful to have some feedback mechanisms. Like I teach my students to use a pendulum, or do muscle testing to confirm or deny their hits. So if you have an intuitive hit and you're like, is that me or am I making it up? You can bring out your pendulum and get a yes, no, I don't know answer from your pendulum. Or maybe you do muscle testing. And the other way, or maybe you pull some oracle cards, right? And the other way is then we watch for the signs and omens in the world. So you get the hit, then you see, like, you get that hit, like, I think I should study Reiki. That's a good idea. Then you walk into the bookstore and the book on Reiki falls off the shelf at your feet. You're like, okay, that's the sign. That's my confirmation that what I got, that's really a thing and not just my own story that I made up.
I love that. And I like that you said about deciphering too, because how I had to figure it out for myself because I struggled with severe anxiety for 30 years. So, of course, I had those kind of thoughts all the time. So, as I was trying to connect with my intuition, I had to decipher what it felt like in my body.
Yep.
So for me, when a thought or an idea would drop in, if I felt expansive and excited and filled with possibility, I had no doubt it was coming from my source of wisdom within. If I had a thought and it left me feeling constricted, afraid, I'm like, oh no, baby, that's the lower self that's been running the show. So it's another way of feeling, right? Feeling what it feels like in our body to receive.
100%. I call that the truth signal. And
Oh,
everybody has like a different truth signal. So some people cry tears, and those are called truth tears, when you hear the truth or you speak the truth. Other people get like that calm, expansive thing that you had. I get sort of like a rush of energy up and down my spine. Some people get shivers, goose flesh, like everybody, but everyone will have a feeling in their body when the hit is real. So again, we kind of, learning to know what yours is and sort of really triangulating off that. If you have that feeling in your body and your pendulum says yes, and then you see the signs and omens, we can really build a solid foundation around, having really measurable confirmation that it's a real hit. And I think that's what helps us learn how to trust.
yeah, I use my oracle cards a lot. I've had the same deck forever. I just love my deck. I have others, but you always have one you go to.
Yeah,
And so it's almost like I call it divine validation, you know.
right.
And that has been very helpful over the last 25 years. So how can someone begin developing their psychic abilities, even if they feel it's not natural? Like, where would a beginner begin?
I really think starting a psychic journal is a really good place to start. And you can just take any old journal, but I actually published a psychic journal called the Psychic Awakening Journal.
I
And
have it in my
y-
hands, people.
yeah. Oh,
It's
thank you. Yeah.
beautiful. I just love the energy of it, and
Yeah.
already dove in, but go ahead, finish.
Yeah, it's so I know, I love it too. I think I'm really pleased with it, but start a journal, you can just get it, any old journal and write psychic journal on the top of it, right? And then you start recording in there record your dreams if you remember them, record your card pulls, the signs and omens that you have, the initial first impressions that you get when you meet somebody, like those are often really psychic experiences. Um, anything that is an intuitive hit or a psychic hit, put it in your journal because a lot of times these things are very ephemeral. We feel them really strongly in the moment. And then you could get such a strong psychic hit on Monday and you'd be like, oh my God, that changed my life. And then by the time Wednesday rolls around, you forgot about it. You know, they just pass through us sort of like dreams do. And when we write, I guarantee you, if you start writing down all your psychic hits right off the bat, you're going to be amazed by how psychic you already are. But we also know what we pay attention to really grows, really gets bigger and bigger. Then I think pulling some oracle cards in, get angel cards, get whatever tarot cards, whatever cards work for you, and start pulling them on a regular basis. And then we need maybe to study a little bit. That was the purpose of writing my book, Awakening Your Psychic Ability, was to give people kind of the knowledge base because I think we need to know things. We need to have a certain knowledge set. And then, you know, having that reflection time in the journal can really help pump up whatever abilities you have and pay attention to them even more.
Oh, I love that. And I love because you have the book, Awakening Your Psychic Ability, and then you have the
Yeah.
Psychic Awakening Journal. And before we go to our first break, I want to invite everyone to visit Lisa at lisacampion.com, learn about all her offerings, her events, and of course, her best-selling books. Lisa, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back in a moment, my friends.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Beautiful soul, are you craving a soul nurturing community of women interested in personal and spiritual development? You're not alone. When you step onto the virtual campus of Inspired Living University, a sacred community and curriculum for women on the path of self-discovery, you become a soulful part of our high vibe family of women where you can grow, learn, and be reminded of your truth and power. Along with 2 mindset elevation circles each month with founder Linda Joy, you receive on-demand access to a sacred curriculum that includes a library of personal and spiritual development classes led by leading luminaries on topics that support you in living your most magical and intentional life. These high-value master classes are just the beginning of your transformational journey. Step into the circle today at inspiredlivinguniversity.com/sacred-invite.
Consistently attract soulmate clients, begin showing up on brand, monetizing on your calling. Welcome all spiritual coaches, leaders, healers, light workers, and practitioners to a show that turns you on in your business and amplifies your magnetism. I'm host, catalyst, and spiritual business coach Rosalind Fung, and I'm here to journey with you into the juicy and help you discover where the real gaps are. Ignite your mindset and soul with strategies and systems as each episode takes you to the sweet spot that activates your soulgasmic business by tuning in on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Mountain. Join me for your light language activation and let's magnetize and monetize.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back. You're listening to Inspired Conversations. I'm with my friend Lisa Campion, master psychic, energy healer, and prolific author. Her most recent books are Awakening Your Psychic Ability and The Psychic Awakening Journal, guided prompts to develop your intuition and open up your psychic abilities. So one of the things I notice, and I'm curious if you do, I have grandchildren, one's 13, one's 25, and I identify them, and I think they would identify themselves as very empathic, very intuitive, wide open, especially both of them, but especially the youngest. She just came into the world that way. So are some of the practices in your book, in the journals, and your other products, kind of give us any tips for guiding the children in our lives who are here to like transform the world with their empathic gifts?
Yeah, I think every generation, such a great question, Linda. Thank you. I think every generation is coming in more psychic than the last one. Like I was born in the 60s, and when I was a kid, I was kind of like an extreme case of, my psychic was open so wide, it was kind of extreme. And then nowadays, kids are come in with that level and more, and it's no big deal. It's like every kid is like that. So I think as our species is evolving, as we're evolving as humans, we're more and more open, more and more psychic, more and more aware. And it's, to me, really beautiful to see. I think that if you have kids, one of the best things you can do is learn some of these things yourself, so that when your kids ask questions, you want to translate what you know into some age appropriate, make it appropriate to their age, make it appropriate fit with whatever your family's faith traditions are, so that your kids have a context for understanding. Maybe you talk about angels, or maybe you talk about ancestors, or, maybe they're like, I see fairies. And you're like, yeah, you do. Like, first of all, try not to deny or invalidate what they're sharing with you. Like, give them permission to talk about it, and then find a way to put it into context for them so they understand it in a way that's age appropriate, that fits in with your faith tradition. We can do a lot for our kids if we do that.
That's beautiful. That's what I've always done with the grandchildren, and especially the younger one, who is very tuned in, and had a couple episodes when she was under 3 of like, can you tell that man to stop touching my doll? They had just moved into a new house, and my daughter had a heart attack thinking someone came in through the other door. She's
Yeah.
looking up in the corner of the room like, Mom, he keeps touching my doll. And my mother's like, Mom, can you come over here? So she
Yeah.
just, I think, was wired that way. It hasn't happened much as she aged, but we made her feel like it's all natural. It's all normal.
Yeah, that's
It's
great. That's
okay.
the right thing. That's the
Yeah,
right thing
and
to
then
do.
she, we would go to sleep every night, and I taught her, call in Archangel Michael. When you're anybody, you move into a new home, different sounds, all that.
Mm.
I wanted her to feel peaceful. And at bedtime in her new home, when she was about 3, she had some trepidation. So we created a beautiful Archangel Michael nighttime ritual so she could fall to sleep feeling safe. And here she is, 14 years old now, and she still remembers all that. It's part of conversations. And I think it is so important so they don't feel like they're different or anything is wrong with them.
Yeah, yeah, and, like, I mean, back in the day back in our generation, Linda, like, if you were unlucky, your parents just drag you to the church and throw holy water on you
Oh my
or,
God, yes.
tell you you're crazy or whatever, and my parents, they were like, "Oh, you" my parents were hippies, so I was kind of lucky that way, but they're like, "Oh, you have such a imagination, Lisa," you know? And I was pretty sure it wasn't my imagine I was like, "I don't think this is my imagination." But, but at least they didn't squash me, and I just think, like, don't make a big deal about it, don't freak out, normalize it and give them some context for understanding, and we can, so many people of our generation, like, had experiences like that when they were children, and I'm always shocked. I shouldn't be at this point, but I still am always shocked about how many people adults had really bad experiences, have sort of PTSD around their childhood experiences, and that could be like you saw some scary things, but then your parents freaked out and punished you, shamed you, you know, like disbelieved you. And it's kind of two parts trauma, whatever you saw, and then how whatever you experienced, and then however your parents reacted. And I work with a lot of people that are undergoing psychic openings, later in their life, and that have to kind of clean up some of the trauma they experienced when they were kids.
That relates. I can feel that in my own body, in my own journey.
Yeah.
One of the things is like identify your meaning for empath, right? Because a lot of the work you do is with empaths. So how would you describe it if someone is listening right now and they're like, I think I'm really sensitive. I don't know why I feel this way, and take information in this way. So what would you say?
Empaths are people who absorb the thoughts and feelings and physical sensations of other people. It's a little different than just having empathy or having sympathy, which is when we look at somebody and we're like, oh, that person's sad and I feel bad for them. That's like feeling empathy, which is good. We should all feel empathy. But being an empath is slightly different. It's more like being a psychic sponge. So we literally absorb the thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations of other people, which means like you're sitting next to somebody that has a headache, you have a headache. You're talking to someone who's depressed, now you're depressed and you feel it like it's your feeling. So you're not just noticing that they're having a feeling, you're absorbing it and running it through your system. So you're feeling it like it's you. And that can be really exhausting, really confusing, until we figure out how to handle it. And we just need really, really good energetic hygiene, energy management skills. And that's the difference between feeling like you're a crazy person and feeling like, you're in control of your gifts.
Yeah, I can remember going to massage school up in Cambridge. God, it was over 20 years ago. And I was really new about intuition, all of this. And I was in the clinic and I would come out of clinic and I'd go to my teacher like, oh, my shoulder is killing me. Oh, my hip is killing me. And she was a Reiki master, but of course I didn't know that. And she said, let's talk after class. And then she goes, Linda, look at the charts of everyone you just worked on. They were in for the shoulder rotator cuff. What's Linda feeling? Like my shoulder is locking up. She
Yeah.
says, you're an empath. You're taking it on. I got to show you protective measures so you can work on them without taking their energy in. Is
Yep.
that a similar description of what you just described?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're feeling it in a physical way, but you might also feel emotionally. Like you could be working on somebody. It does get stronger when we're touching people or we're in physical proximity with them or we're emotionally close to them. So they might live states away, but if you're besties, you're gonna feel it. And like, oh my God, I don't know why I'm so sad. Like the first time it happened to me, I was at college. I went to UMass and my freshman year going to a house party and it was Friday night. I was super happy and I go into this house and I sit next to this guy who's not having a good day. He's like crying into his beer. And all of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I feel so depressed. I'm like, what is wrong? Like, I'm like, uh, I'm not okay. And I'm like, I must be going crazy. I got to get out of here. And I left the party And just sort of like one of those moments where, God intervenes or my guides intervene. Like I turned around and looked through the window and he was still crying into his beer and I felt fine. And in that moment, I was like, oh, it's not me, it's him. I'm feeling him. Like you know, that's when I figured out that I was an empath. And back then, this was in the 80s. There wasn't really a word for it. There wasn't that, we didn't use that word empath at all at the time. So I just kind of knew that I had to clear the energy that I picked up. So when you're an empath, it's a lot about for really being grounded, making sure you're in your body, making sure that you're clearing the energy that you pick up from other people. So when you feel something, especially if you're around other people, you got to ask yourself, is this me or is it them? Is this am I angry or are they angry? So you ask yourself that question. If it's not you, you take a deep breath. I imagine sort of standing under a waterfall of light and all the light is washing away all the energy that doesn't belong to me and sending it down the drain. And then we put up our protections again. You can imagine yourself in a big bubble of light. You can, shields on full, whatever kind of image works for you to reset your field and release whatever it is you're picking up. But if you think about it, Linda, it's the perfect tool for a healer. So of course, a massage therapist, like all the best massage therapists have that. And they know exactly where to put their hands. They know exactly where your pain is. You don't even have to say anything. So I think these things are built in like MRI, X-ray machines that help us healer types understand how people are feeling so we can be of service, which is great as long as we're not taking it home with us.
Oh, this is powerful because in my private community, I talk a lot about many years ago. Well, I'll just say it this way, most of my life, I felt like a weeping willow tree. So for those who have those in their area, the slightest breeze gets those things rocking and moving and swinging around. And I used to say I would become like a weeping willow tree, whatever was going on around me, friends, distress, family issues. I couldn't ground my own energy. I couldn't be in my own energy. I couldn't use those words back then, but
Right.
I would feel like I was whipping around. And then as I started using, like you said, energetic protection practices and energy clearing, I'm now like an oak tree. And what I mean by that is I can witness what's happening around me, even with a loved one, a friend, or the world. And 90% of the time, because we're not perfect, I can stay grounded and go, oh, I can witness this, but I don't have to suck it in and let it hit me.
Right.
Does that resonate too with how you see it?
Absolutely. And I think unprotected empaths really can suffer from depression, anxiety, sometimes really bad health problems because we're just absorbing all this negativity that's around us. And it can be really confusing. You can just be like kind of like stuck on the couch, not able to leave your house, feeling pretty ill. And then when we learn these energy management basics, and they're not hard to do, they're super easy to do, it's like, oh, it's life changing. Then you can, jump off the couch and go into the world and help people. And of course, the irony is that empaths are often really drawn to helping people. Maybe you really want to do some Reiki, maybe you want to work in the hospice or, help people in all the ways that we do, however it is. And yet that puts you in the line of fire of picking up a lot of difficult energy from people. If you don't, and knowing if you don't know how to protect yourself, you might not be able to even do it. But when you do, you can really, it's very liberating. You can feel free to roam about the world and do what you came here to do without having it take a big bite out of you.
Oh, yeah. I think it was one of the greatest gifts I gave myself is learning how to protect my energy.
Yep, me
We're
too.
gonna take another break, Lisa. When we come back, let's talk about that. Some ways that maybe we can protect our energy, especially those aimed at those who are on the listening to the show who may be just beginning this journey. So we'll be back in a moment, my friends. Visit Lisa at lisacampion.com. Grab a copy of any of her best-selling books, as well as her newest one, Awakening Your Psychic Ability, and the journal, the Psychic Awakening Journal. We'll be right back.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Coaches and aspiring guides, this is your time to increase your income and help clients experience real soul-aligned breakthroughs. Become a certified Life Purpose Prosperity Soul Guide and learn how to help clients embody their elemental astrological archetypes for heart-aligned success, creating lasting shifts they'll deeply value and happily share. This nature-aligned certification provides you with practical tools to support your client's unique purpose and prosperity pathway, opening up powerful new ways to expand your business and increase your income. Lisa Michaels, creator of the Life Purpose Prosperity Blueprint, with over 30 years of proven results, personally mentors you through this dynamic system, grounding cosmic wisdom in earth-honoring leadership practices. Watch a free masterclass revealing how this sacred strategic work can elevate your offerings and your impact. Visit lisa-michaels.com/soulguide to explore your expansion opportunity today.
If I could be you,
and you could be me,
for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
To get inside
each other's mind,
walk a mile in my shoes.
walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in
my
shoes.
shoes.
We've all felt left out, and for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org, brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world.
You're listening to Inspired Conversations. Thanks for circling up with us today to learn more about unlocking your intuition and inner power. So let's say someone says, I believe I'm an empath. That's how I feel. What is one of the simplest practices to help them? I call it zipping up, but what's one of the most common practices they can use so they can start to protect themselves?
I really like this image of imagining a big beam of light coming in the top of your head, and that beam of light's coming from your soul, from your angels, or straight from divine source, coming in the top of your head, beaming down into your heart, filling your heart with light, and then going down, down your spine, down your legs, and out the bottoms of your feet. So on your inhale, you breathe it in to your heart. On the exhale, you release anything you're holding on to, or you can imagine it. Instead of a beam of light, you can imagine like a shower or a waterfall of light that's going all the way through you, releasing everything that you picked up that's not yours, anything that's yours that you're ready to let go of, down your legs, down the drain into the earth, releasing it. And then you can use some of that light to create like a bubble of light around you, that protective barrier. That protective barrier is really the outside edge of your energy field, but it's fine to imagine it like strong, super strong and bright and shiny, and we're just going to kind of program that to allow in energy that's supportive to us and to keep non-supportive energy on the other side, and we're the boss of what comes through and what can't. And that it's a simple, like my trick, Linda, is I sneak to the ladies' room and I wash my hands. I take some breathing with this water. I'm washing away what's not mine. Then I stand there for a minute and I imagine that waterfall of light. I breathe that way. I reset my shield, and then I go back out. And I've done that in the middle of Costco, in the middle of an airplane, like anywhere you go that's dicey, or you're in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner, whatever you got to do where you need to kind of shake it off and reset yourself.
Oh, I love that. Now, when you do a lot of big events, right? So when you're about to enter a venue that has 200 people or 20,000, do you prep before you get there? Or is it just, I know it's probably second nature to you now. So what do you do when you know you're going into energy that you can't control what's there?
Oh my gosh. And I also do this before I go into Costco, before I go into Walmart, because those places just seem to suck the life out of empaths. So I literally will sit in my car and I do the same thing. The other way you can do is roots down. So maybe I'll imagine, roots coming out of my feet, or roots like my tailbone extending into the big taproot of a tree, and getting it. That helps. It's a grounding technique to help us get really grounded and connected to the earth. Maybe we connect with the earth energy and we just pull it up into our body, up our spine on the inhale breath and blow it out the top of your head on the exhale breath. And again, put that some energy into the outside edge of your energy field. So you can go either down or up or both. And I'll do that for until I feel really solid and in myself. I do a lot of inner child work. So the book I'm working on right now, I'm writing my 5th book at the moment, and it's about inner child work. So I'll talk to my inner child and be like, it's going to be okay. We're going to be fine. It's going to be really fun. I got this, you know, and then I put my shield on and I go. And I do that before I do anything that I think is going to be challenging or is like kind of a chaotic environment or kind of just psychically active anywhere there's a lot of people. And then I do it as needed. So I do it before I do sessions, out in between my sessions, anytime. It's like takes like 30 seconds, or a minute. And it really is a game changer. It's a little bit like, and the effects are cumulative. So the more you do it, the stronger your energy field gets, the more boundaried you become. And I think this gives us a leg to stand on to kind of set the harder boundaries. Maybe that's saying no to people or learning really how to protect your time in a different way that can be really challenging. But if we start with these energy management fundamentals, it makes it easier, I should say.
And one of the things you said earlier is about, I think you said energetic hygiene. And I tell my clients, I go, listen, you take care of your physical hygiene, but what about your emotional and spiritual hygiene? And they're like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, every day in the shower, I use the white light. Well, I don't know about you, but some days I'm intuitively led. I see the white light while I'm in the shower coming through me, and then I have a mantra, like I release all beliefs, thoughts, patterns, cells that no longer serve me, and I envision them going down the drain in the shower. But sometimes, do you think it's intuitive that sometimes I want to change the light to blue or red or orange? It's like maybe that chakra is calling me to do some extra clearing there. Does anything like that? And I follow it, of course, because I'm like, all right, you want me to change the color of the light? That's intuitive, right? That is my body guiding me to an area that needs clearing. That's how I see it.
I love that. That's beautiful, Linda. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And I think we can be intuitively led on that. Some days I just need to go outside and get my bare feet on the ground. Like if I'm having trouble, and it's hard to do that in New England sometimes half the year, but I have like a, grounding mat that I work with. I think having a lot of tools in our toolkit can be really helpful. And today I need to do my practice outside, or I need to be walking around it's usually about 20 minutes of like walking in nature. Your system will automatically clear itself. But even more if you think about it, if you do it intentionally. So I think having a lot of different ways to do it is really important.
Yeah, and something you said too about, being able to put your feet on the ground. Because we live in New England, I'm like, I finally got my grounding mat and a grounding sheet. Yep. What a world of difference. Since last, I think it was January I got it. I've been gushing about it to every client. I'm like, get this. It is magical. What I also noticed too is my C-reactive protein inflammation has dropped, and the only difference I made was grounding, sleeping on a grounding sheet.
That's amazing. Yeah, I have grounding sheet too, and I have a grounding mat under my desk.
I'm sitting with it now.
And me too.
I'm like, it really helps. And so we have a few minutes before our last break, but the world is so distracting right now, Lisa. It's overwhelming for so many, especially empaths. So in this world full of distractions, how can someone learn to trust their intuition when so much is coming at them?
I think we really have to make time to listen, Linda. And the world we live in now is very noisy. So what I really recommend that you do is find 20 minutes a day where you don't have any noise. Maybe that means you get in the car, you're driving, don't turn on the radio, don't put on a podcast. Or if you walk your dog, quiet walk, don't turn anything on. If you're doing the dishes or, meditating, staring out the window, we need quiet space where we don't have noise in our head, noise in our ear. We're not scrolling on our phone or listening to something. because our guides can't get to us when we're doing that, you know? And even if it's just like folding the laundry quiet, driving quiet, walking quiet, um, for 20 minutes. And I think it's really a beautiful practice. Like write a question in your psychic journal. And maybe you have a really specific question. Maybe you have like, just tell me what I need to know now. Then be quiet for 20 minutes. And sometimes those walking, driving, laundry activities really put us into that alpha brainwave state where we're the most intuitive and creative. And then just kind of space out, daydream a little bit and pay really attention to what you feel, what you think about, what if you have any like aha moments or moments of revelation and write them down in your journal. And that's a really beautiful way to tap in every day. But if we don't make the quiet time, we really miss it.
Yeah, and that was a big thing for me in my probably 20s and 30s. I was a runner. I was always running from myself, so I would never be still. And I look back now and say to myself, I wasn't at peace within, so I was always keeping myself so busy so I wouldn't have to hear my inner wisdom, so I wouldn't have to hear the stories and wounds. And I'll tell you, when I first started trying to create space to be, it was the most uncomfortable damn thing in way back then, because my pattern was just keep busy, just keep do. And now I teach it's all about being. So that when you are doing something, you're present in the moment instead of being so focused on doing as I was back then, which can be an escape mechanism, which it was for me.
Yeah.
So being now, my family knows, like after a full day, this is a full day because both of us, myself and Lisa, were both preparing to be at a big weekend event this weekend. And so, I have this full, beautiful day today, but they know when I'm done with this day, I need my time to be so that I can recenter, reground for all that's to come this weekend. But I never used to give myself permission to do those. I would feel guilty 20 years ago for taking time to be and nourish myself. Do you find guilt comes along with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big
For
thing.
sure. Guilt. And I also think like when you're finally quiet, you feel all those pesky feelings you've been running away from, you know? So you're like, I'm lonely, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm anxious. All those uncomfortable feelings that we've been pushing away come running back, which is why meditation is so hard. You're quiet on the mat for yoga, or slow yoga practice is so difficult because it allows us that time to really tune inward. And what we encounter is ourself and often our dysregulated self, our unprocessed emotions. But I think spending that some time to attend, like you said, emotional hygiene, spiritual hygiene, right? Mental hygiene. We need time to attend with lots of love and care to those parts of ourselves. And when we do, so much easier to really sit with yourself.
Yeah, I found that to be so true. We're going to take our final break. When we come back, I just want to spend the last segment talking a little bit about Reiki and the basics, because I find it to be such a powerful modality, and I want others to understand more about what it is and how it can benefit them. So we'll be back in a moment with Lisa Campion. You can learn more about all of her best-selling books at lisacampion.com. And as always, whatever platform you listen to the show, all the show notes are down below and all the links to connect with Lisa. We'll be right back.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. Times Radio. IOM FM.
The time is now to deepen your intuition, connect with the archangels, your guides, and own your sacredness so you can live the empowered, inspired life you desire. Intuitive spiritual teacher, healer, and holistic life coach Robin Fitzsimons consciously blends her treasure trove of healing modalities, including Akashic Records, Sui Reiki, and silent counseling, along with working with the angelics to support the divine wellness of her clients' body, mind, and spirit. Through her popular online classes and sacred readings, including shadow work, awakening your intuition, channeled angelic guidance, past life healing, soul recovery, and more, Robin brings women deeper into the truth of who they are in a safe and sacred container. She is the founder of Wellness with Robin in Platteville, Wisconsin, where she offers in-person sessions and classes. Learn more at wellnesswithrobin.com.
More than 24 million Americans have an autoimmune disorder, and that number continues to grow. I'm Sharon Saylor, and I'm one of those 24 million. To put that number in perspective, cancer affects about 9 million and heart disease up to 22 million. That's why I've brought together top experts and those thriving regardless of their diagnosis to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information. Join me, Sharon Saylor, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Autoimmune Hour on Life Interrupted Radio to find out how to live your life uninterrupted.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Free your mind with Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Thanks for joining us as you're listening to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Linda Joy, and with me today is Master Psychic and best-selling author, Lisa Campion. So, Lisa, Reiki is a big part of your life, your teachings, your programs. So explain what the basics of Reiki are and how it differs from other forms of energy healing.
Reiki is a gentle, hands-on energy healing technique from Japan. And I think sometimes we can think about it like acupuncture without needles is kind of a good visual for it. And when I learned it in 1999, it was still pretty fringy and it was still kind of a strange thing to do. But now it's in 800 hospitals through the United States. All the big hospitals in Boston have full-time Reiki staff. And there's been a lot of research that says it's really good for mental health treatments. It's really great for anxiety and depression. It's used in pain clinics around the world for non-narcotic pain relief. It's used pre and post-surgical. And if you go, if you're having cancer treatments at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, one of the best cancer institutes in the world, they have a full-time Reiki staff there that can help, give you Reiki that really significantly diminishes the side effects of chemotherapy. So it's been really, which makes me so happy, it's been really accepted as a legitimate healing modality by Western medicine and mainstream society. It's been around for a long time now. And I think it's also a really great entry point for people who are thinking they maybe want to become a healer or they're curious about doing self-healing. Because when we first learn, it's easy to learn, doesn't take very long, anyone can learn it. And when we do, we have a really powerful self-healing modality. You can work on yourself, your friends, your family, your pets, your food, your water, everything is going to get Reiki afterwards. And such a beautiful entry point into the world of spiritual and personal growth. I think everyone should do it.
So would you say it's accessible to everyone, right? Can children learn Reiki?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I've taught children, teens, everybody, especially Reiki level 1. And, you receive some lessons, you learn some stuff. The teacher does an attunement for you, which allows you to connect in with the frequency of Reiki. Then every time you can put your hands on yourself, or anytime you put your hands on anything, that's going to get Reiki. So, and it's so cool because your hands get hot, most people's do. And we really can feel the power of healing in our own hands. Oh my God, I didn't really believe in this, but now my hands are hot and I put my hands on my skeptical spouse and he can feel it. And there's something really beautiful about the tangible quality of Reiki that I think opens the door to a larger spiritual reality for so many people.
It's so beautiful. And I can remember when I took Reiki 1 way back. At first, I was skeptical. I was so new on the path. I'm like, what is this? I think her name was Vi, was my teacher. You may know who she is. And so I can remember when I finally just kind of relaxed into it. I can remember feeling the pulsing, between my hands and the energy. And then the pulsing when I was working on someone, almost like I was I can't explain it, but it felt like pulsing in the palm of my hand.
Yeah.
And is that something that people have described too? It's like
Yeah.
That was what I can clearly remember from back then.
You can feel like heat, tingling, pulsing. You can feel sort of like the wrong ends of the magnets, like a resistance feeling. And some people don't feel the energy movement, but they feel the results of it. So you might feel happy, peaceful, joyful, energized. So even if you can't feel the energy, some people are really sensitive to energy and they can feel the energy, but even if you're not, you're going to feel the results of it.
It always left me feeling very relaxed and grounded.
Yeah, me too. So good
That's
for you.
yeah, that's how no matter what I had going on that day when I stepped in and had a treatment, I was like, oh, why don't I do this every day? Because it would just bring I call it like it's like coming back home to yourself, like pulling your energy back into your truth instead of leaving it scattered out there in the world.
It's so beautiful, Linda. It's a great description.
That's how I experienced it.
I love
We
it.
have just 3 minutes left. Let's talk about something because your book is about psychic ability. And what are some essential techniques for psychic self-defense and why are they important?
I think that what we talked about is as the energy management fundamentals is really where you start. Having a good energetic boundary works. Like we're going to this expo tomorrow. I'm staying in a hotel. That Murphy's Law puts me in the haunted hotel room every single time. Um, and even if it's not haunted, there's going to be some like leftover energy from other people. Because think about all of life that happens in a hotel room, and psychic self defense. I think for the most part, where most of the time we're defending ourselves against other people's energy, but sometimes it's the spaces that um, we occupy. So I'll be bringing my space clearing kit with me so I can clear that room, maybe clear the whole hall floor I'm on or the whole building. And I'll definitely be clearing myself after the intense days at the expo. So I think psychic self-defense is really like kicking it up a notch on how do we ground clear and protect ourselves in dicier and dicier situations.
I love that because so it's nice to know I'm not the only one that travels with a little kit. I have my spray, I have my crystals, I have a
Yeah.
little tuning fork so I can
Me too.
clear.
Yep.
And it's so funny that you said this because I was meeting with the event manager at the Quincy Marriott probably 3 months ago. I had already signed the contract. This event was a go. And I said, hey, is there any events going on Friday in the, where the ballroom and all that? She goes, no, actually, no, it was a Thursday. She goes, no, actually, there isn't. Why? I said, because I'm going to be coming here often from for that year up to my April event. And I said, I go in and energetically clear every room, four corners, call in the divine of every single breakout room, the foyer, the ballroom, but I do it numerous times for the reason you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how much energy imprints are there. And I only want people to feel love, light, and laughter. So it's about creating the sacred intention to call in and align with the energy that you want to create with. And so I'll be doing the same thing when I get to the hotel room tomorrow at the event. And I can't wait to see you, my friend, in person.
I know. It'll be so nice to see you there, Linda.
Yeah, it's going to be magical. And I want to thank you just for the work you're doing in the world because I've watched you touch and transform and support so many hundreds of people just in my community, just that I know of, never mind the global reach you have. And I think it is so important now more than ever that we own our light, we own our gifts, and we share them with others. I think that's what life is really about.
Thank you so much. And right back at you. So I've seen you grow and change and take a bigger spot on the stage. It's so lovely to see that too, Linda. And I also appreciate you for all the work you're doing too.
Well, thank you, my friend. And I want to invite everyone to take the time today to visit lisacampion.com. You'll learn about her best-selling books, including The Art of Psychic Reiki, Energy Healing for Empaths, programs, events, and so much more. And of course, grab a copy of Awakening Your Psychic Ability and the Psychic Awakening Journal. You were drawn to this conversation today for a reason, my friend. Just lean in, trust and open your heart to receive all the gifts that Lisa has waiting for you and all the gifts within yourself. Thank you, Lisa, for joining me.
Thanks, Linda. Thanks for having me here.
Until next time, my friends, choose love, choose joy, choose happiness. Blessings, everyone.
Thanks for listening to Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. Join our sacred space every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern and meet leading female visionaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. Inspired Conversations with Linda Joy is a soulful venue where guests share the obstacles they've overcome, along with wisdom and lessons learned on their personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic and soulful living.